Well, hello friends, this here is David Vos, and today is November the 23rd, 2015. It's great to see everybody today. Friends, don't click off, because this video is going to have information in it that will save your life at some point. And for some of you, it will save your life even if you don't know it. Because all of you are running around out there like the old proverbial chicken with its head cut off, and you don't know where you're at because you just got your head cut off and you don't even know it. You see, the head's where all the knowledge is, where all the information is stored, and they took that away from us a long time ago. Why would they do that? Because they don't want you to be well. They don't want you to know anything. They don't want you to be free. They don't want you to be happy, because if you're happy and content, you don't need them. They got to tell you lots of stories, make you feel like you're afraid, and then you run to them for help. And they sell you stuff, and they keep you in fear, and they punish you, and they threaten you. And they've got a hold of us right by the gonads, and it hurts, and there ain't no way out except for knowledge, because that's what they're hiding from us, friends. Because you see, they really don't have any power over us. Most of the stuff that they're doing to us is that we're just doing it willingly. They say, oh, come on in here in the inner cities and live in this drug-infested rat pile of, just paint's chipping off the walls, and, there's barely any heat in the winter, but getting a discount on the rent, get your food stamps. Problem is, all your children are going to become sick. They're going to get on welfare. They're going to be on drugs. They're going to be in jail. It's not a place to live. If you're a mother or a father and you're in the inner cities, you need to get out of there now. Even if you think, well, no harm being done right at the moment. Your children are living there. They need to get out of there. They need fresh air. They need emotional well-being. They need to be shown what a horse is, riding through the fields and the daffodils, and the wind in their hair. They need to know what it's like to see the sun come up in the morning without the smog and the fog and the pollution that hovers over the horizon where you're at. They need to go fishing. They need to go out and pick berries in the mountains and frolic and play and climb trees. It's imperative. They're young and there's not much time left, and you've got to get them out of there. Don't click off. There's a very important message. This is probably one of the most important videos I'm going to make in my lifetime. Because if I don't get this one right, I'll make some more like this one, because this is some information that's got to get out there. We talked about how the powers that be have tried to keep us down. They burned all the books in 295 AD, the Alexandrian Library. And that library came from Heliopolis, Egypt. Okay, all those books originally were in Egypt. And those books were the ancient knowledge, the same knowledge that the Sumerians had about the gods that came down to earth 450,000 years ago. And all that history and knowledge and wisdom has been lost because it was in those books and those libraries. We've recently dug up some information. We can divine this information. Egypt, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and some of those tablets have had all of this knowledge for a long time. We just didn't understand it, couldn't interpret it. We knew about the Greek gods and Zeus and all of this, who came to earth and were marrying women. We knew that Genesis 6:4 said that the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, the heroes, the men of old, the men of renown. They had relations with the daughters of men. We knew this, but we didn't know all the details because they burned all the books. So along with all of that knowledge, they got rid of some very important things. Not just who we are, where we came from, but what we're here for. And we've talked about a lot of that in some of the videos. Today I want you to understand what you're supposed to eat. I want you to understand what happens when you get sick and what you're supposed to do. Because, you see, if you had that knowledge, you wouldn't have to go to the doctor. You know, some of the pills that the doctors are giving you now are over $100 for one pill. And they're killing you and you don't know it. You know, I could go on and on for hours explaining to you and proving to you that the drugs that they have today are poison. They're bad. Drugs aren't nutrition. They don't help you. They don't help the body heal. They simply deaden certain parts of the body so you can't feel it. Perhaps they can, bypass certain parts of the body, and you can carry on as though, not too much is wrong, right? We don't need that appendix. We'll just take it out. According to modern science, we'll just take it out. We don't need it. Well, obviously, common sense says you do need it, and you're not going to live as long without it. You don't need that gallbladder, right? You don't need those wisdom teeth. You don't need your tonsils. You don't need this, that, and the other thing. You got 2 lungs. We'll just radiate one out with radiation. You'll be fine. It's all insanity. You got high blood pressure? Just take this pill. I'm talking to somebody about this the other day. They said, well, I had high blood pressure. I take these pills. Now I don't. That's not true. They're lying to you. High blood pressure is caused from plaque in your arteries. That means you got a hole like this that's now down to about like this, and it causes more hypertension in the blood vessels, more pressure. Well, that pill's not taking the plaque out. What the pill's doing is slowing down your heart. So your heart's going slower now, right? You can go get your blood pressure, and it sounds better. But they didn't take all the plaque out of your arteries, so therefore you still got hypertension in your arteries. And in fact, you probably have a heart attack even sooner now, because that blood pressure is still not right. You still got plaque in your arteries. The little small veins that go throughout your body and your feet and stuff like that, they're not getting the blood that they need to get because they're full of plaque. You've got to fix that. You've got to eat right. The problem is what you're eating. You put food in here, it goes into your stomach. It's got to get broke down into the ionic form to get into the blood vessels to go in and become part of your body and build muscle mass and feed you. Well, your liver does that, and your stomach does that, and your kidneys does that, and they all have a function. One handles bile and insulin and different things to break down sugars and fats, and they all have a job, and none of them are working. So what's happening is you're getting very little nutrition into your body. Most of it's is not getting digested or broke down to the ionic level, and therefore it's just sludge. It's building up in your body. And when your liver's not creating the right kind of bile, it turns into plaque and goes into your arteries. So the only way to cure this is to eat right, friends. But what happens if you don't eat right? You take drugs and put some part of your body to sleep so that you don't know there's anything wrong, or another kind of drug that gives you some kind of euphoria, makes you happier. Some way to bypass something or another. Meanwhile, your kidneys are being damaged and your liver is being damaged by these drugs. Is that going to be the answer? No. Every one of these drugs, I guarantee, after they're out on the market for about a year or so, they end up having to shut them down because they're killing people. People are dying. It says right on the label, you can die from this drug. You're going to have excessive bleeding and vomiting and fainting spells and so forth, but no mind that. Just go ask your doctor and he'll probably prescribe it for you anyway, even though it's going to kill you. But the lawyers, they want to make money too, so they do some investigating, find out that thousands and thousands of people are just dying, millions, is just bad for your health. So they sue them and they eventually have to take it off the market. It's a big rat race. If you want to know who's making all the money, just look at the commercials. When I was a kid, I remember the commercials. It was about food, right? Libby, Libby, Libby on the label, or Mikey doesn't like anything. Give it to Mikey. He'll eat it. That was a commercial of some cereal. I think it was Life cereal. You don't see commercials now about cereal and ketchup and Libby's canned foods or anything like that. Not that any of that's real food, but it's because they can't afford the advertising, friends. Because we got some bigger players now, since when I was a kid. Now they got drug companies, insurance companies. That's all you see all day long. There's car companies, drug companies, oil companies, pharmaceutical companies doing these commercials one after the other, trying to get you to go to your doctor. But you see, you wouldn't need a drug commercial, because obviously if you went to the doctor and this stuff was really real, the doctor would prescribe it for you. You wouldn't need a commercial. You'd say, well, what do I take, doc? And he'd say, well, there's a new pill and it's going to help your blood pressure or something. What do you need a commercial for? Who are they trying to sell the pill to, you or the doctor? The doctor's the one that makes those decisions. He's supposed to know. Well, the reason they got these commercials is because it's insane. And if they didn't have this commercial brainwashing you with this propaganda day in and day out, these little guys and the smiley faces and all the little butterflies and the puppy dogs and the kittens and everything, if they didn't have all this going on, you'd automatically realize, I don't need any drugs, right? But they're drip, 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 brainwashing you, trying to make you think, well, it must be okay. They're all smiling. There's butterflies. You know, they're frolicking in the grass and taking these pills, their little purple pill. So it's got to be all right. And they've convinced you. They're not trying to convince the doctor. They're trying to convince you. They're trying to brainwash you. So that's not what this video is about. This video is about what we can really do. I'll tell you what you can do. Something that they've tried to take away from us, but they weren't successful. You can go to Walmart and you can buy real medicine. Did you know that the Bible tells you what to do when you're sick? Yeah. Ezekiel chapter 47 verse 12. Revelation 22:2. It's all over the Bible. It says that what grows on a tree or a plant is food. But the Bible says that the leaves are for healing. They're for medicine. That's what it says in the Bible, Ezekiel 47:12. Revelation 22. Look it up, friends. So, now a lot of you probably don't believe in the Bible, but think of it this way. If you don't believe in the Bible, and if you're not a Christian, it's in the Bhagavad Gita too. It's in Chinese religious teachings and spiritual teachings as well. But where are you going to get all these herbs, Dave? I mean, there's no doctors prescribing this stuff, and you don't know what to do, and and how do you know if it works? Obviously, it doesn't work, or we'd be using it today, right? They use this in their medicines for thousands of years, and it works. You ever heard of the Hippocratic Oath? This is where we get modern medicine from this man, but he didn't give people drugs. He taught herbs, friends. Where did he get that knowledge? Hippocrates. Hippocrates taught the consumption of herbs for certain ailments, and he got that ancient wisdom from the Egyptians, from that ancient source that I talked to you about that they burned in the Alexandrian library. The Catholic Church burned it all. They tried to hide all this information from us. It was in the Bhagavad Gita. It was in the ancient Indian Brahmin scripture. It was in the Egyptian books of the dead, the Sumerian tablets. And that ancient wisdom, through those ancient priesthoods and teachings, were brought down to the Greeks. Hippocrates and Socrates and Plato and those people were priests, friends. They weren't just philosophers. They got their wisdom from Solon. And Solon had, the story says, he went down into Egypt, to Heliopolis, where all that library used to be. Well, friends, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there, and you can catch the rest of this in the next video. Please, I haven't even gotten into the good stuff, friends, so hit me up in the next video because you're going to learn something that's going to be the most precious thing you've ever seen in your life.